Hello and welcome to another Bigfork webinar. I am Vicky and this is Mark from Bigfork.
Hi there.
Webinar is all about websites in the energy industry, the oil and gas industry, and offshore. We've recently produced a big report, a deep dive, as they say, into energy websites, and we're just going to talk through what we found and some actions to help you improve your website.
Yeah, thanks, Vicky. Yeah, and I think it was good report we did. When we worked on that, we found out a lot really, but I think it's really trying to look at the importance of websites to the energy and oil and gas industry. We know that buyers, B2B buyers, technical buyers, are really turning more and more towards digital and searching for suppliers before they really want to talk to like the traditional marketing tools like salespeople and events. So it was good to find out more about how those websites really stacked up, and how useful they are to technical buyers in the sector.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't say it's all doom and gloom. Like we found some strong areas, didn't we? And some not so strong areas. So I think whoever is watching, I think it will be really helpful for you guys.
Definitely, yes.
So straight into it, and I'll start with the doom, and we'll work up from there. But the lowest area of the scoring that we found was conversion optimization, wasn't it, on websites, specifically data capture?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, the conversion rate optimization, or basically, lead capture, data capture, it didn't score very highly, did it really? And I think that's important because it should be a key goal for websites in oil and gas energy, in most B2B sectors, really, because it's what do you have a website for? It's basically, it should be for building a brand and for generating leads and sales, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and to put some numbers onto it, so we know that the average conversion rate is around 2.2%. So for every working on that percentage, for every 100 visitors, you're actually only converting 2 or 3. So without that ability to capture data or nurture those customers that are on your website, you're losing like 97 to 98 of those 100 people that come to your website.
Yeah, it's critical, isn't it, really, that, for all the websites, all the visitors you get to your website, you've done the work to get them there, you've done emailing, you've done Google Ads, you've done search optimization, all those things. So you really want to convert as much of that traffic into useful leads as possible, really. But I think a lot of the websites we looked at just really weren't doing the conversion rate basics, some using call to action buttons effectively, or at least use them. Quite often some just weren't using them at all, really. But making them persuasive, putting them in the right place. Don't just say, I see so many learn more buttons.
Yeah, read more.
It's like, but it's trying to make those more persuasive and get, actual benefit you're going to get across from pressing that button.
Yeah, tell what they're going to find.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then just make that content answer the customer's questions a lot more, really. That definitely helps with lead conversion. And forms. So forms is a big thing, the old inquiry form. Make them short, don't make them too long. The longer they are, the less people are likely to use. I mean, we're all like that. None of us like filling out forms. Do we really? And also things like capturing data for downloading white papers, articles, getting them into your email marketing list. That's great for brand building. Because as we know, people don't necessarily go onto a website straight away and immediately think, yep, we're going to talk to these guys. They're going to be doing lots of research. It's going to take time to do. So if you're in that marketing machine that you've built or hopefully built, then you'll keep your brand in front of them.
Yeah. And I think
you had sorry, go on. You're gonna have a good example of Subsea, weren't you? We thought was good.
Yeah, I was. Well, we actually only found one that had data capture, and that was Subsea. So well done.
There it is. Yes. Yeah, I mean, their calls to action stand out on the page, don't they? They could certainly be better with the copy, but we felt the contact form was short to the point, very quick and easy to do, and it gave that gave the users options to get more information.
Yeah, I would like to receive invitations and news. That is so critical, that bit. And
Yes.
I think with the CTAs, the calls to action, you always recommend to have them as a different contrasting color, don't you? So that yellow really stands out.
Yeah, I think you've got to make them fit in with the website design, but sometimes they can be off-brand color. But really, it's the contrast. You can see there the yellow really stands out on the black, so it works well there. But we just looked at a website the other day that had white call to action buttons on a white background, which clearly don't stand out. And as soon as you turn them to blue, you've immediately got people clicking on them a lot more. So just making them stand out is critical.
Yeah, and I think conversion optimization, that is the whole overarching point of a website, isn't it? All the other areas we're looking at, like user experience, content, reputation, branding, that all feeds into conversion optimization.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a whole process. You're all feeding into that final contact you get from the website, because we know as well is that technical buyers, there's been lots of them. There's big, buying committees. So there'll be financial people, there'll be, other directors all involved in it. So don't make the mistake of just thinking you're targeting one person. So again, you've got to build your website for all of those people as well. So it's not easy.
No. And speaking of the various different people that use a website, the user experience of said website needs to be good. And we actually found that it didn't score particularly well.
No, we didn't. No. I think there was a lot missing, wasn't there, really? I think when people get onto a website, one of the big issues we find is we look at websites and from a user point of view. So typically a lot of oil and gas and energy websites, some of them might have quite a few product pages. So you've got category pages, you've got subcategory pages, then you've got a list of 10, 20 products. And that's a lot to drill through, and it doesn't really make it easy for you to find, well, I just want a product that solves this problem. If it's all branded products, how do I know which one does it, really? So it's making that easy, and you can do that through product filters, quiz-based searches, and just by making things like mega menus better, all of those things that you can put in there. And I think one of the user experience tools that none of these websites had was interactive tools, wasn't it?
No, yeah, none.
Yeah. So, and we know studies have shown that technical buyers really do value this content. We actually did one with Acteon. So their research identified that their customers would really value a mooring chain calculator. So we created it, put it up there, and it's been very successful. So just creating those online, finding out what it is they want and creating them. Yeah. It's a great way of keeping them on your website. They'll come back again, time and time again to do it. So you're constantly building your brand with them. So yeah, it's anything that shows a calculator that shows the benefits of a product, the return on investment, performance data, all of those things are really, really useful and do get a high amount of engagement.
Yeah.
But none of the websites we looked at had any of them.
No. And it's like a mooring chain calculator seems so niche, doesn't it? But it's so helpful for those people that don't want to scroll through hundreds of pages or find their way through a mega menu or go back on a breadcrumb trail, which I've just learned this term, but that is for the page process you go to. You always see it at the top of the little pages, but things like that, they're so helpful. But having an interactive tool just consolidates all of that effort into one place.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you look at, say, the Acteon website, is not something, it's evolving your website with your content. So you don't just design and build it, put it up there, and just add a news item every month. It's about finding out what else you can do to your website that's going to make it more engaging, more useful to customers. It's going to get more people on there, and ultimately drive more leads to you.
Yeah, because we saw some data that stated that technical buyers, or B2B buyers really, they now self-serve about 2/3 of a buying process before they even get in touch. So making that website easy is key. So you'd be silly to miss out on it, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. As you say, we know engineers especially are increasingly going online more, and that's increased, by COVID. It's sort of really made that process a lot quicker because it was going that way, but people had to do everything online during COVID because of lockdowns. But now people have got into their habits of things more. It's, people can just immediately organize a Teams call with someone. So just going online and looking at a website, getting all your questions answered before you get into a conversation with that company. And I think buyers, they always want to control the narrative. So that's why they want to go on their website. And of course, the companies themselves want to control the narrative. So it's trying to find the best of both worlds, but it's but just getting all that content right on your website is critical, because you can't stop the behavior of the buyers. They're not going to change for you, so this is the way to do it. So and there's so many things that weren't right on the websites we looked at. Things like product pages weren't that user friendly, large chunks of text. So you can remake them a lot better by breaking them up into short paragraphs, lots of useful, titles that punch out, bullet points, focus on features and benefits, and of course the good old tech data sheets that engineers love. I think the best one we saw was AIS, wasn't it? I don't know if you've got their page there. That was
here.
Yeah.
It's so visual, isn't it? And people can find the information they need so quickly. So you've got like the features and the benefits in a bright orange box, and there's images dotted throughout. There's a specific area for the product spec. There's a specific area for how the products are used. So hats off to
Yes,
but
I thought you were going to say it's very explosive page, but but I think you're right. Yeah, it's I think it definitely wins. It ticks the boxes in so many places, doesn't it? That page. We definitely saw it as one of the best, and it's just making it so easy to go through, doesn't it?
Yeah, which makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And user experience can kind of feed into reputation as well. So if your website, it reflects on your company, and the reputation in high risk industries like energy and oil and gas is critical, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Vicky. Yeah, and I think it was a bit of a concern to see, the scores for this area pretty underwhelming, weren't they, really? And I think it's something these companies have got to take a lot more seriously, especially, as you say, in their sector where, it's a very dangerous industry, in terms of safety and money. So I think these companies have got to back up their claims, and we know that the buyers want to see, proof of what you're telling them that you can do. So you've got to show them the awards, the accreditations, the case studies, all of those things, just to be taken seriously, really. So
like a lot of content you saw. There was a lot. So every website more or less had a news section, didn't it? But the news section was things that people aren't interested in, like we've opened this new office or we've hired this new person, not we have won this award or we're compliant in this area, or here's how we solve this specific specific problem for this specific client.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. And it comes back to perhaps companies not really getting what their websites need to be for. A lot of them, some of them look very corporate. It looked like perhaps they were built for shareholders rather than the end customer.
in that kind of
or a PR tool. So yeah, a website can certainly act as a PR tool, but very few people are going to go on there and read all your, the people you want to talk to are going to read all your press releases.
unless they're really dedicated.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think it's just, coming back to that thing in terms of designing your website for what your customer wants to see. And they do want to see proof of what you say you can do, that you've done a good job, really. Case studies, client lists. It's like, if you're allowed to do it, just show the logos of the people you work for. That's as good a credentials as you can get, isn't it? Not everyone especially in this sector, not everyone's allowed to do that. But I think you were saying, you were on a forum the other day and someone said how they get around doing case studies without naming who the client is, didn't they?
Yeah. And after, there was quite a few people that had comments, but the general census was still use it, just anonymize it. So we worked with this leading client or client X or this. You don't even have to mention the word client. You could say this is a problem that we solved, what the problem was, how you did it, and the outcome. Obviously, you probably have to still get that approved by said client. Don't include any specific information. But there's barriers, but there is ways to overcome them as well.
Yeah. There's something we recommend to our clients, and a lot of them do that. Yeah, you can say this is for a leading oil and gas company. So you can certainly get around it by doing things like that.
Yeah, I think that when considering your reputation, I think the three big things to think about are case studies and testimonials. And we did see actually that 66% of technical buyers say that product reviews were the most valuable content for B2B decisions. So that is how important they are. Client logos, easy way to show your credibility, and safety certifications, accreditations, compliance certificates, and things like that. Because at the end of the day, this entire industry is underpinned by safety, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think sometimes clients just assume, that everyone will know you've got that, but I think, never ever make assumptions about that sort of things.
Yeah.
Tell them about, all the accreditations and standards and policies that you have. A lot of them do that, but I think perhaps they hide it away a bit. But I think it's important to show all of the company's credibility, all that, as you say, from the problems you're solving in case studies all the way through to your health and safety record.
Yeah, and that feeds in quite nicely actually to the content that we were looking at on energy websites, I think.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? So we're looking at the content going across all the websites, and overall they scored pretty well, didn't they, really? And I think the one thing they didn't really score that well is having content that covers the whole buying process, or the B2B funnel, the buying funnel as we call it. So it's at the top of the funnel. You've got all the research phase where people are looking for answers to their problems. So they're going online, they're searching they're asking questions, how to solve this problem. And that's where that's where a lot of content was lacking. And you can find out the questions they're asking on search through tools like SEMrush, also asked, all those types of tools you've got out there. And then you can build your content around those questions, and also your own salespeople, your own business development people will know those questions, as we said earlier. So ask them, and then produce articles, industry guides, product reviews, everything around how, what your view is on certain things about solving that problem, how you can solve it, link it into your case studies, all of those things really. And that does two things. It makes your website really more useful in terms of the whole appeal to the customer, because I'm going on there and I can find answers, but also you get picked up in search engines for those as well. So it really does optimize your website a lot more for search engines.
Yeah, and with buyers researching for months before they talk to someone, you want their research over those months to be on your website. You want them to be able to follow their process step by step on your website with your content.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a key to a successful website is having answering all those questions on there. But because without that content, it's really just product pages about us, really, isn't it? And a news page. But you can link, as I said before, you can link all of that through. So if you've got an article that addresses certain questions around a problem people have got, and you've got several products there, you can link the article, you can link the case study, link all that on one page, and then people come in websites at different angles. They might come in, on the home page, they might land on a product page, they might land on an article page. So you're linking all of that together.
Yeah. I think a couple of tools that we definitely use, but it's SEMrush and Google Search Console. They're good online tools to kind of figure that out as well, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're good tools. You've got lots of tools to help you find out all of these things. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so 2 main things. If you're going to take anything away from this webinar, make sure you write your content for your customers and optimize it for SEO and for AI overview now.
That's AI overviews, yes.
Yeah.
They're moving down the list though, aren't they? If you notice recently, they are now below the ads instead of at the top of the page, AI overviews. So it'll be interesting to see. AI is a fast changing market, so probably better not mention too much about it. But yeah, it's
we're not experts.
That top of the chain content does get seen in AI overviews. Can reduce traffic, but you're still getting your brand in front of people because they see, the source of the information there, don't they?
Yeah. Well, not everything's SEO. A lot of it's trust, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Which leads us on to the last one, doesn't it? Positioning and branding, which everyone did well in the survey in this area, didn't they? So yeah, I think. What did you think?
I think marketers, we love to make things look good, especially when it comes to branding. But in sectors like this one, where it's quite likely that a lot of businesses have very similar expertise, it is the positioning that can really set them apart. So the value proposition is so key when people have similar, or companies have similar expertise. So what do you think are the main things that websites need to do to nail this, because it is so important?
Yeah, it is. It's the first thing people see when they land on a website they haven't been to before. But I think for me, it's mainly about differentiation. As you said, so many websites look the same. They have the same messages. They've got similar photography, probably similar products. So it's really putting across what makes your company stand out from everyone else. Is it expertise, service, product performance, all of those things. What problems do you solve? What's the value, as you say, that you're really providing people, and then the skill, and then when it comes down to the design, the skill of the designers are wrapping all that up into a really good design, good professional design. And you use things like video, good photography, things like scrolling effects as you go up and down. You've got rollover effects, and then, but of course, don't forget copy, which is a big mistake most companies do. They think, oh right, we'll just get someone in the company to write all the copy, and it's as dull as dishwater. It doesn't really back up. It's not written for a marketing tool. It's written more like as a technical type, guide, really. So too many of these companies, they tell but they don't sell, really. So it's it's a big thing that we often do is we get given copy and then we turn that into marketing copy. So it doesn't lose that technical information, but it just it's just made to sound more interesting and more salesy, basically.
And one thing is, don't describe yourself as a market leader.
Yes.
What is a market leader? You need to, in that case, you need to show, not tell, because you see, don't you, Mark, that everyone's a market leader.
I was going to say you've probably heard several of my rants whilst doing competitor website analysis. Yeah, the amount of times you see someone claim to be the market leader, then the next competitor is a market leader. You know, and it's like, well, what are they the market leader in? You know, it's like, you know, so that the customer isn't interested. You know, being a market leader doesn't solve their problem.
No.
But if you're a market leader in solving their problem, explain what the problem is and why you're the best at solving it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so
Why?
if your products, you know, are the best at improving their productivity by, you know, at least 25% proven, you know, that's a very strong proposition to put across, isn't it?
Yeah, I think numbers always help, don't they? We
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think we called Claxton, didn't we? And their branding is really clear, it's really clean. And I don't actually think you can see it on this slide, but perhaps a bit further down the page, they have a lot of numbers which communicate something instantly, don't they, to users?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, things like numbers get across. You know, it's something you can easily scan through. But you know, in terms of the projects they've delivered, the countries they cover, you know, performance data effectively getting across, which backs up their claims. You see, as to being that, and it's something you can get across very quickly. And if you look at Claxton there, for example, it's a good question of differentiating. Is a company that hadn't really done much with their brand for a number of years, so the new website was the flag bearer for really getting them back on track with their marketing. So, for example, their logo was red and black, and traditionally they'd focus a lot on the red, but because they were not the cheapest on the market, more towards the more expensive end, we decided to focus more on the black because it's more of a high quality color and use really good photography throughout. Yeah. So they're the sort of things that you need to do with branding, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
To make yourself stand out.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So to bring all 5 of these areas together, and if we were to give it one like overarching theme, what would it be?
Yeah, I think, you know, 10 out of 10 for making your websites look pretty good, but not so much 10 out of 10 for really putting stuff behind it. So I think the overall theme is, you know, room for improvement, but really get your websites focused on the important things, which is creating something for your customers, but also for you, and something that's going to produce leads and build your brand for you.
Yeah, I think so as well. And it's all about, you know, making those small improvements, isn't it? Like a bit like with positioning and branding, you don't do a complete overhaul and leave it and never touch it again, because companies evolve, services evolve, and you need to constantly be making those small improvements to service your customers.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you know, a website should always be evolving, shouldn't it really be? I think lots of them get designed and built and they get put up there and basically get left alone. You know, they might get, you know, a few news articles added every month, but is anyone really tracking the performance of the website? And if not, they're missing a trick, because it's one of your main marketing tools. It's taken a lot of time and money to produce. So looking at, you know, where the barriers are, one of the first things a company should do before they even start thinking about a new website, or if they're looking at this report and think, well, what should we do to improve our website, is actually just look at your existing website, just look at where the barriers are, just get a couple of you around a computer and say, well, can we find this product? You know, what am I meant to do on this page? Do you want me to, you know, ring you, click, you know, go to the form? Is it easy to get in touch with the company? All of those things really is try and look at it through the eyes of a user, but then also get stuck into the data, Google Analytics, heat maps, to see how your website is performing in terms of what pages are doing well, which ones aren't. Your heat maps will show you what people are clicking on, how far they're scrolling. So all that gives you really good information to see how you can start improving your website. Yeah,
and if there is anyone watching that wants to see maybe where they need to start improving, first of all, we've actually built a tool to help with that. It's only a couple of minutes. You just need to answer a few questions, and what it will do is give you a score based on the 5 areas that we've discussed today, and that will point you in the right direction, because I think it can be overwhelming to know where to start, can't it?
Yeah, it's a very quick, easy tool, isn't it? You know, one that you set up, Vicky. So a few people have done it already, and have got some useful information from it. It only takes a few minutes to do. We've set it up. We promise we won't plague you with emails and phone calls afterwards, but it's simply just one. You heard it here. We just, you know, want to provide a useful tool, and then you can take it from there into, you know, it'll help you identify areas that perhaps your website does need improving on, but perhaps you might get top scores in every area. Hopefully you will do.
We've seen a couple, haven't we? We've seen some good ones, and we've seen some average ones, I'd say. It's quite interesting, actually, to be on the other end of it and see the scores. That'll go into my next report.
But yeah, so that's the sort of the results of our full energy and oil and gas website report, really. So, you know, please go and have a look at it. There's going to be a link in this webinar on it, so go and have a look at it and download it. It's not a long read, you know, take about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
have a look through that, and hopefully it will be useful to you.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope people that are watching have got some value out of this. And if you fancy connecting with me and Mark, if you haven't quite had enough of us, I've put the QR codes on there for you to scan. We are always happy to answer any questions or have a little chat, so please feel free to do that.
Great. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.